Hey, you guys, is there anybody here? Probably not yet, but here I am, 3 o'clock, just as I promised. And I wanted to do a Facebook Live to answer all the burning questions around emotional eatings, the ones that I haven't addressed yet on my videos. If you've watched them, or even ones you just have off the top that you want to ask me, now's the time to do that. The second reason I want to do this is just to fill in the missing gaps in my videos. Maybe I already said that, I don't know. But the third reason is to go over my emotional eating journal / workbook and to help you guys understand that more. I may just record this video even though nobody's gonna show up. But if somebody shows up, I will make sure to send you the link to my workbook / journal, the emotional eating journal. Let's see what else. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm gonna wait here for a few minutes to see if anybody shows up and to see if I can even tell if anybody's here or not. Maybe I'll tag a few people while we're waiting. Let's see, tag, Cindy, let's see, Lisa. Okay, just tagged a few people. Maybe that'll get somebody to show up. Looks like I got one person. I can't tell who it is. Let's see. I'm new to this, so. Oh, hi, sister. Okay, let me see if I can send you the link, at least so I can practice. Let's see. I'm waving, let's see, reply. I copied the link into my thing here. Oh, here we go. So I'm sending you the link. There you go. And then I'm gonna send a link to Cindy also. I don't know, maybe you guys can all see that. Cindy, can you see the link? Or is that only visible to my sister? I'll just go ahead and send it to you, just to be on the safe side. Thanks you guys for hanging in there. And the reason I'm doing this today is because I just want to fill in the gaps on my videos where I may be sharing things that don't make sense, and because my brain's filling in the gaps, but I'm not speaking out everything that I really want to get the information to you. Okay, Cindy, I think you're gonna see it really soon. And so anyways, also want to go over the journal with you guys and how it works. It's kind of like a journal / workbook. Yeah, so this is how we're going to start off. I want you guys to imagine none of the food that you really like is available ever again. Chips, whatever that addicting food is for you. I mean, even some people on keto have that addictive food, the food that has sweeteners in it that you crave. So imagine that food is gone. What feelings and what emotions come up for you when you think that you can no longer have that food again? So I want you guys to think about that for a minute. And for those of you who are just coming on, this will replay again as soon as it's done. But again, I just want you guys to think about that. What are the feelings that come up for you when you imagine a world where your favorite food doesn't exist anymore? And if you guys, I see some, there's bread, okay. And what are the emotions that come up for you? Or maybe not emotions, but what are the thoughts that come up that cause the emotions? Right? No chocolate cake, Kenra. Annoyed. Somebody said they would feel annoyed if it wasn't there anymore. Okay, anybody else have anything? Any other emotions or feelings as a result of their favorite food being gone? Okay, so it looks like nobody else has any emotions to offer or thoughts, but that's okay. So think about it through the week, and whatever those thoughts and feelings are the reason that you're stuck if you have an emotional eating problem. Now I want you to ask yourself, how could you find sustainable pleasure elsewhere that doesn't have bad consequences? And leave that question open in your mind for as long as it takes to get the answers you need. And what this is called is instinctive elaboration. When you ask your mind an open-ended question, it wants to answer the question. So you leave the question open in your mind, and then when you get the answers, any answers that come to you, you just journal it out. You start writing them down as they come throughout the week. And again, the question is what sustainable pleasure could you find instead of that? It's kind of like when somebody has they lose one of their senses, like seeing. Then once they lose the sense of seeing, they hear better and they smell better. And so when you lose that addictive food in your life, then all of a sudden your brain is going to build new neural pathways to find other ways. And so I want to warn you here, when you do find other ways of getting pleasure, you'll want to make sure it's a sustainable pleasure and not like another bad habit, like overspending, over drinking, over Netflixing. I mean, we're all going to do some of these things, but make sure you're not replacing it with something like that, because then you just got another habit you got to get rid of. So beware of that. So you got to ask your mind, what sustainable pleasure can you find if you no longer have that addictive food in your life? So that's the open-ended question. All right, so now I want to go over how my program works. What I ask people to do on my program is I ask them to make a plan, what they're going to eat for the day, the things that they would eat if they were thinking, if they were doing things the way they wanted to do. Make the plan. And then every time they want to go off the plan, to think about what are they thinking, what's going through their mind that makes them want to go off the plan, and what emotion comes up for you. And so when you think about what's going through your mind, then at least you're aware, and then maybe go ahead and eat the food. But now what we're doing is we're just becoming aware in our mind of what's going on to make us overeat. All right, let's see. Oh yes, the links. Let me see if there's a way for me to just send the link to all you guys all at once. I see somebody's asking for the link. So tell me if you guys can see that. If the link is shared with everybody all at once for the journal. All right, there we go. Can you guys see the link to the journal? Once you guys see it, let me know. Or if it doesn't show up, let me know. Either way. So that's how my program works. I help people to become aware of their thoughts that are keeping them, oh good, everybody got it, keeping them from sticking to the plan they want to stick to. And then we work through all those things. We work through being able to sit with negative emotions, being able to be okay with feeling sad and be okay with feeling mad or whatever it is you're going through. And also not only that, but we go through how, is that really the emotion, or is that really the thought that you want to be thinking at the time? And so these are the things that you can write out in the journal. Is you can just kind of organize your thoughts. Like, is this true? Is this thought I'm having true? Is this thought good? Is it the thought I want to have? Is it the emotion I want to have? So you just organize your thoughts, you think about it, and then of course you're not going to be able to do this every single time you want to eat something that's not on your plan. So what you do is you just become aware of it throughout the day, and then you have your journal/workbook to go through it whenever you have time. And not only that, but the journal/workbook is something you can take a picture of on your phone, and you can just go through the questions in your mind as you're trying to figure out how to stick to the plan. So let's see, is there anybody else who's had some? I feel like I have a good grip on it. Okay, yeah. So there's some people here that don't have any problems with emotional eating, and that's okay. I really appreciate your support. But yeah, I am really hoping that there's some people also here that can benefit from this. So my overeating awareness and brain retraining journal, here it is. So for those of you who you pull it up when you click on the link for the PDF, it may look pink, but when you print it out on black and white, it's not pink, of course, because it's black and white. It just prints out gray, so it's not going to waste a ton of ink. And you can skip printing out the first page if you don't want it. So the first page is my why. What do I want and why do I want it? So my why has to be a 10. The reason you want to do this has to be really strong, because our conflicting desires, when the cake comes out or the brownies come out, anything that's not on our plan comes out, we have to have a really strong why as to why we're not going to eat it. So when you fill this out, make sure it's a really strong why, or cultivate a really strong why around why you want to do this. And then the next one is, the next page, this is 5 pages by the way, is your contract with yourself. And I said, on this day, Julie, on this day, the 4th of April, commit myself to do what is best for my future self, no matter how many times I have to fail before I figure this out. I commit to looking at failure as evidence that I am moving forward, and not as evidence that I cannot do this. I commit to fail at least 100 times if that's what it takes, but I will not give up no matter what. And then you sign it. And then you have this contract with yourself. So next page is an example of how you fill this out. And so the first part of it is the instinctive elaboration, the questions you ask your brain to work on for the day. And here's a good example of a bad question to ask your brain. A bad question to ask your brain would be, why can I not make this work? Or why do I hate the food I've chosen? Or why am I such an emotional eater? Those are bad questions to ask your brain. So good questions I've given examples of are, how can I make this program work? What can I do to make this a great day? Or how can I delight in the Lord today? And that's when I would ask myself, because delighting in the Lord is something that brings pleasure to me. And so maybe ask yourself, what can I do today that would be sustainable pleasure and that would be better than eating the food? And then the next section on here is my food plan for the day. And so my food plan is usually, it's the same thing almost every single day. The food plan that I suggest is whole food that's not addicting, because potato chips are addicting usually. I mean, you know what your addicting foods are. It's foods you'll eat even if you're not hungry, or foods you'll eat and you can't stop eating once you start, even though you're not hungry anymore. So here's an example food plan: breakfast, eggs, protein bar; lunch, soup, snack if hungry. And then here's something that you may find really interesting is I have food on there that if I'm still hungry after I eat the food on my plan, I have food that I allow myself, like grapes or chicken breast or something that is not addicting to me. So I'll put that on my plan. And then whatever my family's having for dinner for the night. Then The journal on the bottom, right here, is kind of like, I call it a workbook / journal, because in the journal section I have questions, and the questions are, why do you want to eat when you're not hungry? They're the journal for urges to eat off the plan. So the first question is, why do I want to eat? And then you put down, I'm bored. And that's what a lot of us are going through right now, is boredom eating. Because we're bored, there's really nothing else to do. So I want to address this really quick before I move on to the next one. It's okay to be bored. And sometimes, not sometimes, but I feel like it's really valuable to be able to sit through boredom and to be okay with being bored and to not have to cover it up with anything else. Because what will happen is your brain will look for something else to do. And maybe, something good and not bad for you. Of course, when you're asking your question, what can I do today that is going to be a sustainable pleasure? So now you're allowing your brain to build that new neural pathway to find a better sustainable pleasure. Okay, so there's that. The next question is, where do I feel this in my body? This urge to eat the food, where do you feel it? For me, when I have an urge to eat off the plan, I usually feel it like right here. You imagine that you are explaining it to an alien. I have that on here too. But you imagine you're explaining the urge to an alien, like an alien has never felt an urge to eat food, overeat, or whatever. Somebody who's never had the urge before. You describe the feeling. Maybe for you it's in your head, it's tension. Maybe it's anxiety and it's like a vibration. It's like your whole body, it just feels tense and you want to eat to settle yourself down. And so just explain it on the paper or just in your mind, explain it. If you're not in a place where you can write it down, and you take a picture of it and you go through these questions in your head. And then you write down on a scale of 1 to 10, how intense is this urge? And then you write it down, whatever that is for you. And then you ask yourself, can you handle this? And I want to bet you that every single time you have an urge, that you'll be able to handle it. I bet you'll be like, wow, it's not as bad as I thought it was. But you just have a habit of eating the food. So I dare you to experiment with this and see what you think. And then the next question is, what can I work on changing in my life that I normally wouldn't fix because of the discomfort? Hold on, that's not it. What can I work on changing in my life that I normally wouldn't because I fixed the discomfort with food? So that's a question, like, let's say you're struggling in a relationship and you're eating because of the struggles or the frustration in the relationship. What would you do instead? And now this is giving your brain a chance to do some problem solving around this. So there's that question. And that won't always be something that you can answer right away, especially with boredom. Although actually with boredom you can too. But anyways, we'll move on. What else? Oh yes, okay. Do you have tummy hunger associated with this urge? And so if the answer is no, then you know, okay, we're not going to eat. But the answer is yes, then you know, okay, maybe it is time to eat. So you look at your hunger scale, and that's what I call it, a hunger scale. So the hunger scale, if you're on a 1, you can barely even tell you're hungry. But as you get to like 6, 7, 8, 9, you're like ravenous. So what I say is, if you're a 2 on the hunger scale, it's probably a good idea to start planning what you're going to eat so that you don't get to a 7. Because if you allow yourself to get to a 7, some people will binge. And so if that's you, then I say start planning when you get to a 2 so you don't end up eating off the plan. Well, if you've already planned it. But anyways, I hope that helps you guys. If you want to print out the book, go for it. Let me know what questions you have. Also, I want to know, has everybody gotten the workbook? Has anybody not been able to download it? Oh, and Rox says, can she share this? So yes, you can share this for sure. Anybody else have anything? I think that's it. Let me know if you can't download the link. But that's all I have for you guys today. I have to let you guys know, I'm so nervous. Oh my gosh, this is my second Facebook Live. So yeah, and I see that there's like 4 people still here. So yay, thank you so much for coming and for supporting me. And please comment, like send me a Facebook instant message if I've left out anything, if you guys have questions, if I've left out anything, if there's a big old gaps of information that I need to share to make things make sense better. So that's it, you guys. I love you guys so much. I'm so glad you showed up, and have a super blessed day. Bye, you guys. Mwah. And let's see if I can figure out how to get off of here.